Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday, June 21st, 22 edition of the Boxing Source Radio Show. I am your host, James Bell, the leader of the Boxing Source on social media. You could catch a whole lot of stuff through updates on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and through the YouTube page. We are still in recovery mode from, what went down last week or the previous week, where we, did have the festivities for the International Boxing Hall of Fame weekend. But we did talk about that in the last podcast. And we still have a lot to really go over here in this particular episode here. So thing about it is that what we're going to do is we're going to break down a lot of this stuff here that happened in the previous week, which included the wins thereby Artur Beterbiev and Robisi Ramirez, plus, wanted to, touch on a few things as far as like news and notes in the sport of boxing that's coming up here in the near future. And, kind of like break down these potential matchups that are coming up here in the sport of boxing. But first off, wanted to jump into what happened over at the Hulu Theater in Madison Square Garden. You had the light heavyweight unification match with Artur Beterbiev coming in there with two belts, and Joe Smith Jr. coming in there with one belt. Beterbiev, had the thing there with the WBC and the IBF title. Joe Smith Jr. with the WBO title, you know. Um, and the thing about it is that we tried to see how this bout would turn out. I mean, a whole lot of reviews and things were out there in reference to this, as far as like, hey man, someone's gonna get knocked out in this particular bout. Someone's gonna get knocked out. You know what I'm saying? And and we, kind of like did get what people were looking for in this particular fight. But it was surprising in a sense. Once this thing happened, I mean, this fight could be explained in detail, um, because there wasn't didn't last that long. Beterbiev, oh man, he just destroyed Joe Smith Jr. Man. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say destroy it, but he was on the verge of destroying it. Referee pretty much I'm sorry, the referee pretty much saved Joe Smith Jr. Man. I'm gonna be straight up with that one. He pretty much saved Joe Smith Jr. Man. Um, with the first minute of the fight, yeah, Joe Smith Jr. He was out there. He was pumping a jab out. He was trying to be active, with his, active with his jab and things like that. Tried to have the point where Beterbiev would have to, react to the offense of Joe Smith Jr. You know, um, and it kind of like look, it was pretty good, there by Joe Smith. But my thing was he tried to follow up with the right hand, try to get in with a 1-2 punch or whatever it was, but that didn't necessarily uh hit the mark. And then after about a minute 30 seconds in the first round, Artur Beterbiev started opening up. Artur Beterbiev started throwing some punches, and oh my god, man, it just seemed like every punch landed. It just seemed like every punch landed on Joe Smith Jr. It was oh my god, it was just bad. It was bad, y'all. It was really bad. It was like first punch was like bam. I was like, oh shoot, here we go. And you knew the way that Joe Smith was reacting to the punch, like it was gonna be well at that point it looked like it was gonna be a long night. But it wasn't quite a long night there, as you know, Beterbiev just pretty like dissected Joe Smith Jr. And it didn't really take that long, you know, for him to do that. He was just hitting them with power shots, continuous power shots, hooks. You know, I'll get into the punch that really kind of like took him out, but hooks, body shots, like I said, left, right hooks, body shots. Did the jab to the body. A lot of feints that Joe Smith just could not, he could not properly react to the feints from Artur Beterbiev. You know, with that, I mean, you kind of like seen that in the lead up to this particular bout was that, you know, Artur Beterbiev has a way or a method to try to get his opponent to think about where he's gonna go with his shot, and then he ends up going the opposite way. So in one of the video analysis for, you know, this particular bout, you know, um what you had was, you know, Artur Beterbiev kind of like stepping forward, but it was like he would step forward for a jab that's going up top. But instead of going up top, he would like seem like he started up top and then just go downward with his punch, you know, into the body. So his opponent's guard is like up top, thinking that Beterbiev is going with a jab. Instead, he goes to the open spot where he has body shot. And that type of thing, as far as like what Artur Beterbiev does, it shows like he's like one of the more efficient fighters. You know, not just at light heavyweight, but it could be, you know, without, you know, throughout the sport, because you know it's not like he throws that many punches or is very active, or at least to me he's not. But whenever he does throw and whenever he does land, he makes sure it counts every single time, it seems. And in the first round, you did see that against Joe Smith Jr. He just had it to the point where all of those power shots just looked like all of them were landing on Joe Smith, and Joe Smith was just not ready for that at all. And it was just a case where, you know, Smith was getting beat up. He ended up getting knocked down near the end of the first round. Real quick, shout out to Unrivaled Boxing Talk. You know, one of the great channels in YouTube. There talks boxing, talks a lot of boxing. Is very knowledgeable, very knowledgeable. One of the more knowledgeable people, you know, that I know in the YouTube sphere when it comes to boxing. So shout out to Unrivaled Boxing Talk there, real quick. Um, and but going back to Beterbiev's dissection of Joe Smith Jr. I mean, he just took every shot that he could take there against Joe Smith Jr. And like I said, it just seemed like a good amount of shots were available for Artur Beterbiev. It was just like, man, like, and the thing was, right, like, you know, I could have I could have been there live, you know, um, but I didn't quite, yeah, I wasn't going. You know, I had a couple of things that I had to do in town, so I didn't go to the Hulu Theater to watch this fight live. And man, yeah, I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because I would have been like, oh my goodness, that was just like, yo, you like, you know how they had the thing with your boy Ivan Drago and Apollo Creed. I would have yelled, "Throw the damn towel!" I would have thrown. I would have yelled that shit. I'm sorry. I would have did it because yo, Beterbiev just destroyed Joe Smith Jr. Joe Smith Jr. had no chance. You know, it was just bad from the first round. Like live, I haven't seen something like that live since what it was Peterson versus Lipinets, you know, where like people were just like seeing Lipinets like break down Peterson, and every shot that landed just seemed like real gruesome and like cringing and all of that. Like this was pretty almost like the same thing. You had Joe Smith, of course, he from New York. He the the working man's fighter, the lunch pail, hard hat, labor worker, that's going in, punching his clock, doing his thing, and then going in there and fighting. He eventually became a world champion. You know, of course, he did his thing against Bernard Hopkins, but that's neither here or there. But he still, like I said, was able to get wins, good wins over the course of his professional career. Even before he won the WBO title in his fight against Maxim Vlasov. He was able to defend that title once against Steve Jaffard before this bout against Beterbiev. But he's defeated the likes of Eleider Alvarez, who's a former world champion himself, Jesse Hart, and like I said, he did defeat Bernard Hopkins, and had losses to Dimitri Bivol, of course, current champion, and Sullivan Barrera, but he still was like regarded as one of the hardest punchers there in the sport, or at least in the division, and that it could have been some type of a factor, there for Joe Smith Jr. if he would be able to get by, or get through something there with Beterbiev. But the initial attack from Joe Smith Jr. was not enough to have Beterbiev start his offense. And like I said, once Beterbiev started his offense, man, it was just like, oh man, this is just not good at all. Not good at all. You know, and like the first round, Beterbiev was able to score a knockdown before the end of the first round, and that just kind of like, set the stage for what was going to happen in the rest of this fight, man. And the end of that first round happened, and I was like, oh man, this ain't gonna be good. This ain't gonna be good for Joe Smith Jr. And I just saw Joe Smith at the beginning of the second round, the first minute or so of the second round, he had a little spot where he tried to get himself back at it, where he would be able to get in close quarters with Artur Beterbiev, and to me that was like the best chance that Joe Smith Jr. had against Beterbiev. Like he really couldn't do much at a distance against Beterbiev, at least not to me. I thought he would have had to, do something to the point where he had to get in close quarters and really catch Beterbiev to see if he could hurt him. People were talking about, oh, Beterbiev has been knocked down at some point, of his professional career, and things like that. And like I said, Joe Smith Jr. is one of the hardest punchers in the uh light heavyweight division, you know. But man, it was just that just didn't work all too well for Joe Smith Jr. being in close quarters. Beterbiev was just still coming forward, where he could come forward. Um, and it was to the point where you just seen a whole lot of those power shots really landing flush on Joe Smith Jr. And he got knocked down again. And when he got knocked down again, I was like, oh man, this thing is about to, it's about to get real ugly, And after Joe Smith got up from that knockdown, when the second round, I was looking for the uppercuts from Beterbiev because he didn't really throw no uppercuts like up to that particular point, and they were there available for him to use. And when he used them 1-2, it was that was just it, man. It was basically over then. Harvey Dock stepped in, stopped the fight. Within 219 or whatever it was, within that second round. And Artur Beterbiev is the WBC, IBF, and WBO light heavyweight champion. Still undefeated. 18 wins. And all 18 wins are by way of knockout or stoppage. Um, and he just looks like a serious force there in the light heavyweight division. And for Joe Smith, I mean, like I said, he became world champion, was able to get, the WBO title. It was vacant against Vlasov last year. Did have a defense of that belt, was able to get a win while having that belt. But they were setting up this particular fight against Beterbiev, and oof, man, it was just like he got smoked. I mean, you pretty much admit that he got smoked in that bout, man, within 2 rounds. Wanted to add in one of our contributors to the Boxing Source Radio Show. That is our guy from the ATL checking in. It's the Boxing Academic. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on? How you
Yo,
doing today?
yo, man, chilling, man. Yeah, I was talking about this thing with Beterbiev and Smith, man. I mean, that was just a straight up beat down, man. Like, I know we were talking about, this particular fight, and that you brought up something in reference to Smith. Uh, like if he would have done something a little bit different, if that could have had some effect on this particular bout. You could expound on that if you like.
Yeah, obviously I watched the fight. It was a great performance by Beterbiev. Beterbiev, to me, and even hindsight, had almost every advantage. He was a better boxer. Probably was more, if not as powerful, and he was more intelligent. He had a more intelligent boxing brain, and obviously he has been doing it longer as well. So Andre Ward mentioned something, but when I first saw the fight and I saw it round one, Joe Smith kind of started off. He was using his jab, and when he only used his jab, he kind of had Beterbiev in a peculiar situation where Beterbiev was having to avoid shots because of the jab that was in his face. And when he started throwing more right hands, and he actually after he got hit the first time, like Beterbiev hit him on the back of the head, side of the head, back of the head, which it technically wasn't a legal shot. But once he got hit with that type of shot first, he stopped jabbing and he started kind of walking in with his hands up more.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of primarily was trying to throw overhand
Overhand.
rights and
Yep.
stuff.
Yep.
So he was trying to throw bigger shots, and he wasn't jabbing, which means that Beterbiev, all he had to do was just avoid the big lugging shot. And they were strong shots, but he saw it from a mile away.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So round two, round one, he got knocked down at the end of the round, and Joe Smith, felt the power obviously, and his response is to fight back. And he started to try to get in a firefight with Beterbiev, where he was throwing the wider shots, and Beterbiev was blocking them, avoiding them, and then hitting him on counters, hitting him on with everything. Actually, he hit him with everything. He threw everything he decided to throw. And
Mm-hmm.
so once the fight was over, 2 rounds went, and then I saw the first round where Beterbiev was a little uncomfortable. Yes, he was downloading information. Yes, true talent tells over time, but anyone's reach and a jab will make anyone uncomfortable. Which if we take Kovalev Ward one, that's what made Ward uncomfortable until he closed the distance and started hitting Kovalev on the body. I just I'm gonna read my exact words. I honestly can't believe that their game plan was to come in and slug it out with Beterbiev, a guy with power who has been boxing longer and who is a better boxer. Why not use the length and like kind of fight off your back foot and use your length and make Beterbiev come to you and try to walk Beterbiev into the power shots that way. Ward said that he thinks he had a game plan, but then he threw it out the window once he got hit. He pretty much panicked. I
Mm-hmm.
guess I could see that. I guess I could see him panicking, and I hope it was the case that he did panic because I was quite disappointed at the output. That yes, the fight would have ended like that in either case. That would have been how the fight ended. But and yes, Joe Smith would have taken a lot more punishment, but he would have had more opportunities to land shots on Beterbiev and potentially hurt him. He likely hurt him or buzzed him in round one. He hit him with a shot in round one that you can tell Beterbiev kind of was like, okay, let me come in and use my jab and sort of use my let me set up these punches versus just coming in. And so Beterbiev started, using his jab and using other setup punches to walk in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Joe Smith would have had a better outcome. He probably would have still got knocked out, but it would at least would have been round nine, somewhere around there. And he might have had an opportunity where he knocked Beterbiev down. But had he jabbed and tried to make Beterbiev go through the landmine of his jab and then hit Beterbiev with the right hand when he came in and sort of box going backwards or however, um, he would have fared better in the fight. Yes, you got the reality in that. Can Joe Smith actually do that? Is he equipped to actually fight going backwards? The answer to that may be no. But I can't believe that if that was their game plan to come in and go fist to cuffs, that was the game plan to think that a guy who been boxing longer than you, who probably been bred to do this, and is the best
Mm-hmm.
light heavyweight in the division to me. And I'm not saying he's skillfully better than what's his name? What's the
What's
other
that?
number? The other top guy who just beat
Bivol.
Canelo?
Bivol.
Um, Bivol. I'm not saying he's skillfully better than Bivol, but I'm saying based on his output, he is the top light heavyweight based on the competition he has fought and beat. Yeah, Bivol ain't got he has a nice record too now. I mean, I can't sleep on him because he's fought some decent guys as well. But I just think that Beterbiev, based on who he's beat, the level of guys, to me, that warrants him to be number one. And I would say that for anyone, which is the reason why I say Spence is number one, because based on who he has beat, that
Yes.
makes him number one. Even when we were talking about Canelo, up until Canelo losing, his body of work made him be number one, based on who he fought and beat, that up until his loss, he was number one for me. So Beterbiev is the top person. I think him and Bivol would be a great fight. I think that, Bivol probably is stronger than, he's not as strong as Beterbiev, but he's strong enough, I would hope, I think, to where it would be a great clash of styles. And then how sturdy. I mean, Canelo might just be a lot weaker than those guys, which is why he looked so good against which is why Bivol looked so good against him. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if Bivol fought Beterbiev, if he would look a lot weaker as well. I wonder if Bivol just that dude in terms of strength, and would Bivol's boxing be enough to offset Beterbiev? That's going to be the biggest question, which is why it's going to be such a great fight, because the clash of styles, and can Bivol hit hard enough to discourage Beterbiev? But I was, I was quite I ain't gonna say disappointed, because I respect everybody who get into the ring. I was
Mm-hmm.
disappointed with the plan, with the game plan,
Strategy.
and if that was their game plan, I just can't believe that would be their game plan. If you watch tape on this guy, if you watch any tape on this guy, yes, he's a bulldozer, but I mean, he got skilled for all that bulldozing he got. And compared to you, Joe Smith, he's more on the IQ scale, which is the same thing that I would say for, like, let's say even Deontay Wilder. So in the third fight, obviously Deontay Wilder wanted to bulk up, and he betted on getting Tyson Fury out of there in 5 rounds. And now I can't argue, because he knocked him down twice in the round, and he had a long count that, if the count may have been counted, with a 1 second beat versus a long count, sort of, then you can argue and say that the man was down for 10 seconds or so. Um, so I can't knock his approach in Deontay Wilder, seeing that it almost worked, but the alternative is going 12 rounds with Tyson Fury. Which one you gonna choose? Are you gonna go for it all and try to get him out in the first 6 rounds, which almost worked, or you gonna say you're gonna beat him over 12 rounds, and you got internal bleeding, you got a fractured face, the dude sitting on you. The only thing that I would say I question, and I'm gonna stop being long-winded here. The only thing I would say a question is that the endurance in that third fight it was not appropriate for fighting a guy like Tyson Fury, for fighting anyone for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
He was done after 3 rounds. He was like literally done.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, maybe I mean, some form of bulking up in terms of like strength, but your strength always gonna be there. You gotta go with endurance with Tyson Fury. You got to be the best endurance that you can be, because Tyson Fury gonna be able to go for 12 rounds. So all I'm saying is, I just am disappointed in Joe Smith's team, that they didn't have an approach of trying to use their length and walk this dude into shots, which would elongate their opportunities and give them more chances to knock this dude out and win. Get, as AJ would say, catch lightning in the bottle. All right, I'm done.
Yeah, to go. Well, I'll go backwards in what you're saying, and then go into the thing like you were talking about with the strategy by Joe Smith Jr. Um, the thing with Wilder was that Wilder had his strategy within the second bout, well, pretty much like the second and third bout against Tyson Fury, because you had the instance where in the first bout, he was around like 212, or around like ranging around like 215 there against against Tyson Fury. And he was still around the weight that he's used to being at. Like, he wasn't like well above 220 pounds when he was going up against Tyson Fury at that point. But in there, he was, still able to go, the full 12 rounds. And he did, knock down Tyson Fury twice in that first bout, you know. But in the second bout, we had the strategy of bulking up to almost 20 pounds higher than that first fight. And, he wasn't really used to all that. He wasn't used to having all that bulk, being able to utilize energy and oxygen to where he could conserve himself over the course of those rounds. Because Wilder's just used to giving everything he's got in his punches. That's why he has had a number of injuries over the course of his pro career because he puts so much in his punches that whether they land or they don't, it still has an effect on his arms and his body. You know, so when in the second fight, he was just not used to it. He was able to, utilize a lot of that energy there in that bout, and he just got flat out exhausted. And a lot of those knockdowns were pretty much an instance of him not having the energy to really like sustain what Fury was doing. And then like in the third fight, it was more about Fury just being overwhelming after the first few rounds or so, because Wilder was doing fairly well in the first couple of rounds. It was just that he couldn't stay consistent on it. Now back to Joe Smith Jr. Not sure what they were
Can
thinking
I ask
about.
you this? Can I ask you this about that? Do you think, given Wilder's skill set and his deficiencies, that trying to end it in 6 rounds is either 6 rounds or bust? I can't even argue with that with Tyson Fury in terms of Wilder's skill set because Wilder ain't gonna beat him in no boxing match. But you gotta optimize your endurance though. But what I'm asking you, do you think the game plan of trying to go 6 rounds or bust for Wilder was the right game plan?
It can be, but you got to be able to set up your opponent for that. You can't like just go out and just flail everything you can in those first 6 rounds unless you could try to set them up. If you know that you don't have the energy to go the full 12, try to either conserve your energy or be as efficient as possible within those first few rounds of the fight. And whatever punch you land has to count. You know what I mean? And you got to be able to set up those shots because a lot of the times in that second fight, you've seen where Wilder was going for it, but you've seen where it was like Tyson Fury saw it. So even though like Wilder landed the right hand a couple of times in those first couple of rounds, it was when he was fully extended out and he didn't really get that set stance and the set power behind that right hand. So Fury got hit with it, but it didn't really affect him that much. And with Wilder just exerting that energy in the first half of the fight, that just was pretty much most of what happened in that instance. And then in the third fight, changed the strategy up. Was try to be very efficient, punching upstairs, punching to the body. Just doing 1-2s and just conserving himself. It was just that he couldn't stay consistent on that. Throughout the course of that particular fight. So that's that. Joe Smith Jr. throwing a jab was good. Throwing it coming forward was bad, in a sense. You got to be able to, stay patient. See if Beterbiev is going to come after you. And like you were saying, boxing academic, see if he could try to bait Beterbiev into coming forward and then just having a jab out there. It could be a forceful jab or a lazy jab and just come through with the right to surprise him. But Joe Smith Jr. just does not have that ability, or at least I really don't feel like he does or he did, to where he could have Beterbiev think about what Smith was going to do. So whatever his team was preparing him for in that instance, it just didn't quite work. I know that there's another guest that's coming in, and he kind of came in at a wrong time in a sense. Because he kind of heard a couple of things in reference to his guy. And that you know who it is. That's right. It is the president of the Deontay Wilder fan club, Mr. Matthew Brown. I'm sure that he is going to curse out boxing academic.
Don't be sensational. Don't be sensational. Treat me how you treat me when nobody's around.
Listen, it's amazing to me that months later the legend is still on the tip of everybody's tongue. All right. All right. The man with the bronze statue is still the guy that everybody wants to talk about, everybody wants to be compared to. Here's my thing, all right? We see Fury, who is now banned from the United States of America
Oh no.
because of his affiliations with Daniel Kinahan. He's one of the 600 people that's on the no-fly list. I do wonder if it really is far-fetched that they cheated Deontay Wilder. Okay,
What's the Kinahan do? What did he do? Or what's his allegations?
he's a murdering drug lord.
So you saying he
He's like
could
the
have?
Irish El Chapo.
So
So
you
you
saying
telling
he could have
me
potentially
paid off that crab in a bucket, Kenny Bayless? Could have paid off Mark Breland. You know, Mark Breland came up in the 80s. Those people that came up in the 80s, they love cocaine. Okay.
Oh no. Oh
Yeah,
no.
yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. Mark Breland got them cocaine teeth. So you never know. You just never know. But why are we talking about Wilder anyway? Like, let that man come back
you didn't
and
hear
return
my
to glory.
you didn't hear
Nah,
my comparison. So
you compared Joe Smith to Wilder.
no, can you just listen for a second, please, sir?
Can you answer my question though?
I compare game plan. I compare
Did you compare Joe Smith to Deontay Wilder? Yes or no?
no, I compare a potential game plan and I gave an analogy.
Jr. Did he compare Joe Smith to
Let me just
Deontay
say it real
Wilder?
quick. Let me just say it the 1 minute version. What I said is I can't believe that Joe Smith would come in and try to go fisticuffs with Beterbiev. He would have had much more success if he'd have used his jab to try to elongate the fight and try to walk Beterbiev into right hands. Like, yes, he still would have got knocked out by round 8, but he at least would have had more opportunities to like hit him with something. And I said that is similar to Wilder in the third fight of Tyson Fury, where obviously where he bulked up, it didn't appear that he was thinking about going 12 rounds. And it was, to me, it appeared to be, I'm gonna knock him out in 6 or go bust trying to. And so the only thing I say is that I just, think that in any time Wilder's fighting Tyson Fury, he got to worry about endurance. That's all I was saying. Comparison.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm not going to get on you tonight because I'm in a good mood, to be honest with you.
I mean, we dialogue, so I think you should dialogue if you have dialogue.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
You can also say you agree. That's
No,
fine. You
I
can
don't
say that on
agree.
air as well.
But you are the boxing academic, so clearly you're right. You are a genius when it comes to this boxing thing, okay?
All right, man, why do we got to do this?
I'm not a boxing academic. I'm just a student. You're the academic. You're the teacher. You're the professor. You know?
Matt, why we got to do this?
Listen, I just don't like the comparison, okay? Deontay Wilder has shown a consistent delivery system throughout his entire career and throughout the 3 Fury fights. Joe Smith has never shown that. Joe Smith claimed to fame was stepping on Bernard Hopkins' foot as he threw a punch that knocked him off balance and knocked him out the ring.
And say pushing him out the ring, yeah. So let me ask you this about Wilder. Knowing that,
yes, he is a legend. Yes,
yeah, of course he's a legend. His movie, like his recap of his career, is going to be amazing when they like go through it and do like the Ali kind of like thing. But knowing what happened with Wilder, in that when he caught Tyson Fury in whatever round in round 3 or in fight 3, and there was an elongated count where it was like 12 seconds or something, and if it would have been sort of like a second type count versus a long count, do you think that, I'm saying I can't argue with his, so I have only one gripe, that I feel like his endurance should have been better whenever you fight Tyson Fury, but I can't knock it because shit, he knocked the man down and in a faster counting referee, he could have won the fight. So his game plan came true, but he just got up at 9. Tyson Fury got
Yeah,
up at
but
9.
here's my thing. Have you ever had a 300-pound motherfucker leaning on you? You talking about stamina? He had a big coke ogre leaning on him. Like, come on, man. Like, what are we talking about here? That
So
big
that's what I'm
motherfucker
saying.
was leaning on him.
So that's what my question was. Can you argue with his game plan of saying that he gonna knock him out in 6 rounds or go
No,
bust with Tyson Fury?
I can't argue with his game plan because he almost won the fight. Just because you didn't win doesn't mean that your game plan wasn't good. It just
And
means
that's
you
all I
didn't
was
win.
saying. I agree with you. That's what I was saying.
All right, but on that note, man, like, I mean, why would you think that Joe Smith would have that type of strategy? Because the thing is, Joe Smith is not Deontay Wilder. He doesn't
No,
have nearly the
he's
knockout
not.
rate that
And
Deontay
please say
Wilder
that
has.
again for Boxing Academic because I don't think he understands.
What I'm saying is, I can't fucking believe that Joe Smith came in trying to do fisticuffs. He should have tried to jab more and gave himself more chances to try to
Joe
lay in
Smith
shots
can't
on this dude.
box.
Yeah, but that's not his MO, and that's not what. Like, I really don't think that like his team really trained him to do that.
Because he can't box.
So that's the thing. It's like, I mean, you know, people could bring up like his performances against Eleider Alvarez, or something against like Maxim Vlasov maybe. But even with that one, like, that was a very close fight that he could have lost, for that WBO title. So it's like, okay, you're not gonna see him be like a Dmitry Bivol. I mean, shoot, he got outboxed by Dmitry Bivol. He nearly
And
got
Matt,
smoked
you either need to stay in the house or go stay inside or stay outside. You can't keep going in both of them, Matt.
by yeah, I don't know what in the world Matt doing.
Man, I'm at work, man. Right
Oh
now, I'm
man.
trying to put together these lockers in the break room for my employees because I ordered them brand new lockers because their lockers were broken. So I'm putting it together. And right now, I'm in the break room, which is next to the bathroom. Someone's using the bathroom, so you can hear the water running.
Oh
Anything else, Boxing
no.
Academic? God damn.
Stop trying to make me into the bad guy.
You are. You're always picking on me. And then you cry foul when I clap back at you.
I contend, and I'm telling all the boxing people, whenever we're not on air, Matt be really nice to me.
I'm a nice guy.
He sends me messages as if we were friends.
We are friends. I'm a nice guy. We are friends.
So why you try to treat me mean in front of people then?
I don't know what you're talking about. I really don't. You're just a sensitive guy. I have no clue what you're talking about. Why are you so
I was being
sensitive?
sensational like you, Matt, when I said that.
Sensitive guy, man. Ever since that thing happened with your eye, man, you haven't been the same since. You've been
Damn,
very
that was kind of low, man. That was kind of low.
My bad.
Damn, man. That shit hurt my feelings, dog.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad, man. My bad.
Yo,
What is
yeah,
this?
well, like, yeah, I mean, I'm saying, like, what could Joe Smith do? Like, I mean, I did say, like, maybe he could try to, bait Beterbiev, by, like, punching and going backwards or whatever it is, and then see if he could set up a trap for Beterbiev. But yeah, he just doesn't have that capability.
Yeah, he doesn't.
He just ended up getting dissected, destroyed, beat down, and like I was saying before y'all got on, I mean, I said I was glad I wasn't there, because I would have been like, throw in the damn towel.
He got his ass cooked.
Yeah, he got cooked. He got straight up cooked.
Yeah, ain't no way about it. He got his ass cooked.
Like, it was just a demolition.
But I will say, Beterbiev, he is a rabbit punching motherfucker.
Oh yeah, that shot landed behind the head. A lot of them.
Yes, he is a rabbit punching motherfucker. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh man. Yeah, he just catching folks to the side of the head, the back of
Yeah, man.
the head.
And
Let
that's
me ask y'all something.
dangerous.
If you was fighting somebody that was stronger than you, maybe more intelligent, let's even say faster than you, would you go in there and just say fuck it and let's just fight it out?
Yes. Either that or I'm fouling the shit out of you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit you in the balls.
Yep.
I'm gonna elbow you. I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
tie you up and hit you on the side that the ref is not looking. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
do whatever I can. I'm gonna lean on you. That's what I'm gonna do.
So I don't disagree with the stuff that you said to try to make it a rough fight. But for me, I would
Yeah.
I
Hold
would
on.
guerrilla war
Let me mute
tactics.
this before boxing academic complaints. Hold on, hold on.
I would do guerrilla war tactics. Don't fight it. Don't fight the dude in front of him who bigger than you and gonna hit you with shots. Fight him when he not trying to fight, and don't fight him when he is trying to fight.
Well, I mean, I get that strategy, but it's only as good while it lasts. You know,
That's what I'm saying. It would have lasted longer than 2 rounds, now wouldn't it? It would
mm,
have lasted longer than 1 round and one
probably
minute
would
and
have
30
lasted.
seconds.
Probably would have lasted 3 rounds.
But Joe Smith would at least hit him 5 more times.
5 more times. Oh, yeah, I mean, it's like I said. I mean, Joe Smith to me. I mean, Joe Smith just. I just felt like he didn't have the capability to do something like that. You know, um, it's not like he's like a Gvozdyk or like a Dmitry Bivol in that type of sense. Um, it's yeah. I just really like I didn't like I don't know what your guy Lefty was thinking. He thought that Joe Smith would have had a chance to really knock down or knock out Artur Beterbiev, and I was like, I just didn't see it. Like you were saying coming in there, academic. I mean, every power shot that Joe Smith attempted, it was just pretty much telegraphed. When Beterbiev seen him coming like from a mile away, and so I just didn't see where Smith could have really got to Beterbiev unless if he, tried to bury his way into the inside and try to work on the inside and, figure a way to wear down Beterbiev. I mean, like I said, he's more Beterbiev's more skilled, has more power, um, and all you pretty much have is like if unless if you're gonna try to do a jab consistently and then try to get to the inside. Like I would understand if he could have did like a Vladimir Klitschko and do a jab and grab. He could have done something like that. Make it a stinker of a fight. Jab and grab. Stick and then prevent Artur Beterbiev from throwing any punches. Tie him up. Get in. Just try to get away with it as much as you can. There with the referee. If the referee there is able to, allow you to do that, then go ahead and do it. But he knew all of the advantages that Beterbiev had going into this particular bout. You just got to be able to figure out how to nullify those advantages, and he, couldn't do that after a minute and 30 seconds of the first round, and he was busted up. So it was a wrap for Joe Smith Jr. Loses that WBO title. Beterbiev is WBC, IBF, and WBO light heavyweight champion. And he was talking about, oh, I want Bivol. Let's have this undisputed fight against Dmitry Bivol. But there's some guy out there that wants to serve himself up. He wants to serve himself up, and that's Anthony Yard. I'm like, come on, man, Anthony Yard. You really does he really want to step in this ring against this guy? It's the same Anthony Yard that got stopped by Kovalev with a jab, right? Was completely exhausted, got stopped by Kovalev with a jab, and ended up losing to Lyndon Arthur in 2020. and he wants to fight with Artur Beterbiev, and it would be his first fight since the rematch with Lyndon Arthur last year. Yeah, he wants to. I guess he wants to have a wrap to his career or something. Because man, Beterbiev is gonna wash him. I'm sorry, he's gonna wash Anthony Yard if that fight happens. Um, but if it does happen, then maybe Bivol will eventually fight Zerto Ramirez. And if he
I
does
would
fight
love to
Zerto,
see Bivol versus Beterbiev next. I wonder if Eddie Hearn is going to do the right thing and let this fight be on ESPN as it should. This is
yeah.
the ESPN fight. This is not a DAZN fight.
Here's the thing on that. Like, I mean, you already had Bob Behrman, Top Rank, give him a favor years back when they said Ramirez to fight Maurice Hooker. You know, that was on the zone. So why not have this particular bout on ESPN? They're gonna need it. They're gonna need a lot of viewers for this particular bout anyway, because it's gonna be like better be of Gvozdyk, man. Like I know it would be for undisputed, but man, come on, I don't think people would be really that interested in it, to where it's gonna be, oh my gosh, I want to see this fight, even though people fans talking about, this fight should have been happening for about 2 years. Okay, well, if it does happen, what you gonna do? You gonna go see the fight? Yes or no? And I don't think I don't think a lot of those fans are about that life. So they could put it in the theater in Madison Square Garden or that Liacouras Center in Philadelphia, like Gvozdyk versus Beterbiev or whatever it is. It's still, something tells me it still won't sell. So man, I don't know. I just think it's more likely that you have Beterbiev against Yard and Bivol against Zerto Ramirez next than having this undisputed thing happening. I mean, so I mean that I really do want undisputed to happen for like heavyweight, but I just doubt that that's going to be the case. Co-feature bout real quick: Robeisy Ramirez against Abraham Nova. Abraham Nova coming in there with an undefeated record and a whole mascot and the cheerleading squad or whatever it is. Against Robeisy Ramirez, of course, gold medalist, the man who defeated Shakur Stevenson in the Olympics to win the gold medal. Came in there with a record of 9-1. And it just seemed like Robeisy Ramirez he was just laughing at Abraham Nova throughout the course of those rounds, man. I just didn't see like Ramirez being someone that would sit on his punches in this bout, but that's exactly what he did. And he was like hurting Nova a lot before he had that setup with the right hand first, and then came back with the left to send Abraham Nova to sleep. Pretty much like, threw the pillow over on that corner and then sent Abraham Nova down there for him to go to sleep and just put the covers on him, man. He knocked him clean out. And so, Ramirez is there at like 10-1. It's for one of them minor titles at featherweight or whatever it is. But of course, you're gonna have this whole WBO thing. Of course, with Top Rank in the WBO, you know how they do it. So I don't know. Maybe Ramirez could be set up for something where either he'll fight for the top contendership for that WBO featherweight title, or it may be something where he could go for that featherweight title against Navarrete, or it might be for a vacant title if Navarrete moves up. Because I thought Navarrete was supposed to move up, but we'll see. But I don't know. That could be the case, or since we gonna have Gonzalez versus Dogbe in July, either that's gonna be for the Mando spot, or it's gonna be for the vacant title, depending on what Navarrete does next. Just seeing here, I thought he was supposed to be moving up to 130. I don't know what happened, you know. But any thoughts on this that knockout win by Robeisy Ramirez? It's like I know, come on, I know someone saw that.
Cricket, 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 cricket.
Oh, of course, like
I'm sorry. What was that? I was shoveling some stuff. What's up? What you say?
well, it does involve like featherweights, and you really don't care about anyone that's below 147 pounds. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Hey, but you see my man Rat King fighting this week.
Yeah, he is fighting this week. That's a
Uh,
pretty good card too.
Everybody think he gonna lose, but watch. Just watch. Rat King gonna send Bam to hell.
Who is Rat King?
Sarisky set Saw Rungvisai.
Oh, who beat what's his name?
Chocolate Tito put his dick in the dirt.
He put his ass in the dirt.
Yeah. And he about to do the same thing to this young up and coming stud, Bam Franco. I'm not calling him Bam Rodriguez because his last name is really Franco.
Franco, yeah. But I mean, if it does happen, would you really be surprised?
Well, people say that Bam has the skills of a Lomachenko.
Oh wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
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 No. Okay.
But I just want to know, can he take a punch?
Right. Exactly.
We're gonna find out.
And yeah, so Rumberside can really punch. So you know, we'll see. But man, but this kind of like that kind of like seems like a whole trap where it's like one of the Eddie Hearn specials. You have somebody that has a lot of momentum, and then you put them up against a guy that's like a veteran or really experienced or former champion or something like that, and then they end up getting caught.
Yep, I can't wait. The batting line is good too. But listen, Bam is very good. I wouldn't be surprised if Bam wins.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, so yeah, that, and then Julio Cesar Martinez moves back down to defend his flyweight title. After going up against Chocolatito, he fights McWilliams Arroyo, who always seems to come up short in these type of fights. So I don't know. This might be the same thing. But hey, man, you got that. You got McCaskill versus Ibarra.
Oh, come on. Come on. We don't care about winning.
Oh God!
Come on, man.
I should have announced that fight. I should have seen that coming.
Can you help me with this one? You act like they're having a cook-off.
I should have seen that coming. You know what I'm saying? Should have seen that coming. You also had a joint with MJ Akhmadaliev against Ronnie Rios. Ronnie Rios being a top-rated contender for one of those super bantamweight titles that MJ Akhmadaliev has. Akhmadaliev, if he gets through that, then shoot, we should have undisputed for super bantamweight. But man, it almost seems like it's more likely that we could see Stephen Fulton versus Naoya Inoue than Stephen Fulton versus MJ Akhmadaliev. Man, I'm like, come on, man. You also have Raymond Ford going up against Richard Medina in this card too. So I mean, that's pretty good card that they have there. That's going to be in San Antonio, Texas. So that's a good look there for Matchroom Boxing in that instance. We also had the announcements of finally we had the announcement of Andy Ruiz Jr. versus Ruiz-Ortiz, but that fight ain't gonna happen until September 4th. I'm like, man, it's July. They talking about September, man. I'm like, God, dog. You know what I'm saying? You have that. You have Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Michael McKinson. That's gonna finally happen. It's gonna be August 6th. Shoot. Alexander Usyk versus Anthony Joshua. Will be in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, where they had the World Boxing Super Series finals for some of these joints. So that's going to be in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Man, on August 20th. So we got like the back end of the summer pretty much being set up. Uh, of course, Mark McShyle is facing Ray Vargas July 9th. Um, yeah, but that's pretty much a lot of the stuff that's being announced here in this particular instance. Oh God, I just seen this thing here about the press tour for Canelo versus that Golovkin guy. So they're having a press tour in Los Angeles and in New York City. Looks like I guess June 24th and then June 27th there. And no, I'm not going to either one of those press conferences. Sorry, I'm not doing it. Put it on record. I'm not doing it. All right. So there's that. Um,
Hey, get a credential. I want to go.
you want to go to that joint?
Yes, I need to talk to Canelo. I need to ask him why he allowed
No.
Eddie Hearn to put him in with this no-name fucking Russian that nobody cares about. I need
You
to
gonna
know.
ask him or you gonna ask Eddie Reynoso?
And I need to know how Eddie Reynoso feel about all his fighters leaving him.
Oh yeah. I'm like you got Sanchez Foray leaving. Didn't Andy Ruiz say he's leaving?
Yeah, Ruiz has a new trainer.
Yep.
Frank Sanchez has a new trainer.
Yep.
Oscar Valdez has a new trainer.
Uh-huh.
Julio Cesar Martinez has a new trainer. And we already know Neri left. And obviously Ryan left too.
Yep. So I mean that kind of like says, hey, it looks like Mr. Reynoso has just been focusing on one fighter and one fighter alone.
I guess Ryan Garcia wasn't wrong.
I guess he wasn't.
Because they was
Like,
talking wild shit about Ryan Garcia
yeah, they were though.
when he decided to change trainers.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they were really on something with that one. They were really on something.
Yeah, they were
You
made
need
it
to
seem
ask
like
Canelo what? I dropped off. What you need to ask Canelo?
I want to ask Canelo, how could he allow them to let him lose to a no-name Russian guy? And also, how does he feel about Eddie Reynoso losing all his fighters?
I thought you was gonna say, "How could you lose to a white boy?" I thought you was gonna say that.
Nah, come on, B-Ball is Asian.
Yeah, he's Asian. That's number one.
Canelo is the white boy.
Ha
Canelo look more white than him.
Oh man. I'll give a talk to Mr. Lever and see if he'll get you in there. Get you.
Yeah, let's get in there.
Yeah.
Maybe the boxing academic will come to New York.
Yeah.
I've been there before for a Deontay Wilder fight.
I believe you. I believe you.
Yeah.
I don't know why the boxing academic has such animosity towards me. I don't know what's going on here.
I can't hear you from all that thunder in the background.
I don't know why you have so much animosity towards me.
Boom, boom, boom.
It's crazy.
I ain't got no animosity towards you, man.
Must be a black thing.
Oh man.
Is it because I'm black? Uh-huh. Somebody tell me, what can I do?
Speaking of that, I gotta do something through Twitter after this because this weekend was a very eventful weekend, and I missed I missed a great just a great moment that just had people rolling on Twitter. So definitely will be catching that. But
What happened?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But yeah, that's mostly what I got here for this particular episode, y'all. I mean, just had like a long weekend, man, and just rounding down and things like that. So I'll get back at it pretty much on schedule for next week or whatever it is, man. Anything else y'all got real quick?
Uh, PBC finally announced the Ray Vargas card. Decent card. You got Brandon Figueroa versus Carlos Castro as the co-feature.
Oh yeah.
That's about it. What's going on with Fox?
I have to ask Mr. Ken on that.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Fox. I'm starting to get worried.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think they got something. I think they got something big planned.
Yeah, I hope so. Something big planned with that man from Alabama.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Oh yeah, Brandon Figueroa versus Carlos Castro. Yeah, and then Frank Martin versus Ricardo Nunez, and Rashid Ellis versus Alberto Palmetta on the YouTube page. So Rashid Ellis is coming back, and he's gonna be on the YouTube page. All right. Yeah, that
Better
kind
than not fighting.
of exactly. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I mean that pretty much covers it, except for one thing that I was not able to do in the previous couple podcasts, and that is the Boxing Source pound for pound top 10.
Woo!
All right,
This
so
is a pleasant surprise.
This is updated, and this is modified due to either activity or inactivity or whatever it is, and some reevaluations. So we have to get through this, of course, from 10 to 1. And starting at number 10, Madison Active that, is trying to figure out who he's going to end up fighting. He was supposed to go up in weight, but eventually he found out that that couldn't happen. So he's sticking at his weight, and that's Josh Taylor. So Josh Taylor is at number 10. And number 9, Juan Francisco Estrada. All right. So kind of switch those guys up. And number 8 is a guy that has been pretty good in those lower weight classes. Like I said, I mean, Mr. MVO doesn't really care much for those guys there, but Zulu Ioka is there at number 8.
Who?
Ioka.
Eh.
Like I said, I had to flip things around due to inactivity from a couple fighters. Number 7 is the 2021 Boxing Source Fighter of the Year. Although he could be at number 6, but I'll put him at number 7 for now. And that is, of course, Cool Boy Stephen Fulton. Had a great performance in his last bout there. So putting him at number 7. Number 6 was at a higher position before, but I had to move someone up for the reason. But number 6 is Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. And number 5 is a guy that some people probably put even higher than number 5. And that is the undisputed super welterweight champion, Jermell Charlo. Number 4, pretty much the same from 4 to 1 like the last time. 4 is Terrence Crawford. 3 is Naoya Inoue, even though he sparked Nonito Donaire, which kind of like gave a few people some happy faces. Number 2 is the unified champion at heavyweight, Alexander Usyk. And number 1 is the unified welterweight champion of the world, Errol Spence Jr. So pretty much 5 through 10 switched out a little bit, and the top 4 stays the same.
What number was Terrence Crawford?
Still number 4.
Oh, okay. And you got
I'm not feeling
Inoue.
that top 10.
You got Inoue higher than Terrence Crawford.
Yeah.
Okay.
Boxer academic.
Yes,
I need
sir.
you to be the judge. Tell me which top 10 you prefer. The Boxing Source top 10 or the MVO top 10? Okay? Because I think the MVO top 10 is the top 10 of the people. Okay? Because MVO is for the people. JR is not for the people. I am for the people. Okay? So you ready for this one? Boxing academic?
Yes, I am.
At number 10, we have Tyson Fury, heavyweight champion of the world. At number 9, we have Gervonta Tank Davis. At number 8, we have Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. At number 7, we got Devin Haney. At number 6, we got Naoya Inoue. At number 5, we have Terrence Bud Crawford. At number 4, we have Stephen Fulton. At number 3, we have Jamel Charlo. At number 2, we have Alexander Usyk. And at number 1, we have Errol Spence Jr.
Hold on. What was your number 4?
Number 4 is Stephen Fulton.
So what Terrence Crawford on your list?
Number 5.
Oh, okay. So between yours and the boxing sources, I think that both of you guys' list sucks ass. That's what I think.
Wait a minute. Wait a damn minute. Does the boxing academic have a top 10 pound for pound?
I only got like top 4, top 3, top 4.
Gosh, then
I start from 1, and then all the rest of the people don't even matter because this fantasy list crap is like how the fuck you gonna put Inoue? Like I'm just saying, just because he beat Nonito Donaire. I mean, maybe he's somewhere up there. Maybe.
Stop Asian hate.
B-Ball would be somewhere in my list. B-Ball would be somewhere.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
So Errol Spence is number 1.
Yes.
Terrence Crawford is number 2. Tyson Fury is number 3. And then after that, I just, it's kind of debatable.
Wait. Hold on. You said Errol Spence is number 1, Terrence Crawford is number 2, and Tyson Fury is number 3.
Yes.
Damn, he don't even have like Usyk or goddamn Charlo or nothing in that list.
I said after that it's debatable.
Damn.
I mean, Usyk would be up there. Charlo would be up there. Like I'm not using my brain power to think about where they would be. I'm just saying they would be up there. Who else?
We're gonna have to change his name.
Oh no.
But I don't want to be disrespectful on air.
What would you change it to? Let's hear this last.
The boxing dummy.
Just because I don't believe in these whack ass pound for pound lists, which is so goddamn. Let's throw fairy dust up in the goddamn sky. Like it's like.
Now, why would you say that? Come on. Why would you say something like that?
Who cares about these?
A lot of us
invisible pound for pound lists.
A lot of thought into these lists.
Yes.
You know how long they've been doing these lists?
And does that say a lot for ESPN's list? Like they've been doing it for a long time. And how much credence do you have in their list?
Mike,
it's so subjective. No one,
jerk, Mike.
No one cares about this subjectivity. Let's get me an objective, measure of these people, and then I'll hear some pound for pound lists based on the AI. I need to hear it from an AI. Humans be on that, bias. They be on bias.
All right. So I'm gonna do something for you because you are my brother from another mother. I am gonna give you the top 10 pound for pound list, AI only. Okay. Perez. Number two, Terrence
What you said number
Crawford.
one? What you said number one was?
Number one is Canelo Alvarez.
Where you getting this
Number
AI list from?
Listen. Number two is Terrence Crawford.
Uh-huh.
Number three is Dimitri Bivol.
Mm-hmm.
Number four is Tyson Fury. Number five is Alexander Usyk. Number six is Errol Spence Jr. Number seven is Gennady Golovkin. Number eight is Naoya Inoue. Number nine is Deontay Wilder. And number 10 is Shakur Stevenson.
I mean, sound is competitive with y'all bullshit list, but I'm just saying. Um,
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
obviously they model
Wow.
need a little bit refining. They AI model, whoever model you got, they need just a tad bit refining. Maybe it's not updated. I think it ain't they ain't
That
updated
is
it yet.
updated
It
because
is
that
updated.
is the computer rankings by BoxRec.
Yep.
You said you wanted AI, right?
Yep.
You know, there is the level 1 model and the level 5 model. They gave us like the level 1 model. I want the AI that like predict you know, like that they use in the stock market, and then they go back and be like with the busts and booms and stuff, they go and check their model against that, and then they use it in the future. That's what I want with you know, with boxing.
Uh-huh.
I may give it to you one day.
Maybe a full list one day. All right, we'll see how that goes.
One day when we're
Yes.
old and gray.
I mean, we're gonna be older, obviously, but you know, it's so subjective. No, I mean, if I give it to you today or 10 years from now, hey, it'll be just as good.
Okay.
I'll
We'll
see.
see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Oh, nobody believe me.
Boxing
Okay, all right,
academic.
that's fine.
Oh man, but yeah, that's all I got, man, for this edition of the Boxing Source Radio Show. Thank Boxing Academic and MBO for tuning in here for this one. We'll get right back at it next week. Like I said, man, at the end of every show, point of boxing is to hit and not get hit, not to say the trade. On that note, folks, I'm out. Have a good evening, everybody.